The final stage of the writing process is proofreading and making sure it meets the standards of your audience. Two of the most common and most serious errors in sentence structure are the run-on sentence and the comma splice. In this video, we'll talk about what those are, why they matter, and how to fix them. First things first, why does it matter if you have a run-on sentence or a comma splice in your paper? Your reader knows what you mean. Aren't they just being picky? Well, it depends. If you're writing a casual text message to your friend and they're giving you a hard time about your comma splice in it, you might have a point. Most of the time, we can read over this kind of error and figure out what the writer meant. But in formal writing, like an essay for school or a cover letter for a job application or a published short story, these kinds of errors make extra work for your reader that, quite frankly, isn't fair. Taking the time to make sure your writing is clear shows your reader that you respect them and their time. It also makes it more likely that your point will get across the way you want it to, and isn't that the whole goal? You're absolutely right that a comma splice does not matter as much as, say, the quality of your sources or the amount of explanation you give. But in formal writing, it does matter, so learning how to handle it gives you stronger communication tools. In fact, as a writing teacher, I've found that run-ons and comma splices, along with sentence fragments, which we'll get to in another video, are the most distracting errors you can make. There are other writing errors that don't matter as much, but this one can actually change the meaning of your sentence and make your ideas hard to understand. On top of that, run-ons and comma splices make your work hard to read. And here's the thing. There are lots of things to read in the world. If your reader gets the sense that yours is going to be too difficult to work through, they'll probably just skip it and read something else. Okay, hopefully I've convinced you that these errors do in fact matter, at least in formal writing. So now let's look at what they are. In technical speak, a sentence fragment is two independent clauses that run together with no punctuation between them. Similarly, a comma splice is two independent clauses that run together with only a comma between them. To put it simply, a run-on and a comma splice are basically the same mistake. In both cases, you've smushed two full sentences together as if they were one. In fact, another term for a sentence fragment is a fused sentence. Think of it like a car crash. Two things that shouldn't be touching are now stuck together, and it's going to cause some problems. Let's look at an example. The scientists discovered a shocking find. There was a new dinosaur skeleton hiding in that pit. These ideas seem related, so you might just write them all together. Grammatically, though, these are two separate sentences. That's because there are two separate subjects. This is a run-on sentence. You might be tempted to fix it by sticking a comma where you see the two sentences going together. After all, a comma tells us to pause, right? But that's still a mistake. Now it's just a comma splice instead of a run-on sentence. The same issue remains. So how do you actually fix it? The most straightforward answer is usually to just make it two sentences, add a period, and move on. Sometimes, though, that will leave you with two short, choppy sentences, and you might really want to show your reader that these two ideas are closely connected. So you do have some other options. One of those options is to add a semicolon. It's like a super comma, and it can be used to join two independent clauses that are closely related. Just be careful about overusing it. Too many semicolons makes it look like you're trying too hard. Sometimes if you're having trouble fixing a comma splice or a run-on sentence, the best option is to just rewrite the sentence. Your instinct was to make it all one sentence to begin with, so if you reorder the ideas, you might be able to make it flow better. Finally, we have a grammatical tool for combining sentences. It's called the conjunction. There are two different kinds of conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. We'll get into that in a different video too. But in this case, just know that you can use the word because to combine these two sentences, and then it is no longer a run-on sentence. The most important piece of advice I can give you is to not get upset with yourself if you're making mistakes like comma splices or run-on sentences in your writing. Everyone makes mistakes in their writing. Yeah, me too. Sometimes those mistakes don't matter very much. Sometimes they matter a lot. Taking the time to identify the issue and learn more about how to fix it gives you more tools to have your strongest writing. Just focus on one type of error at a time until you feel more confident about it, then move on to another. If you find yourself making a lot of comma splices and run-on sentences, I recommend starting with those because they're pretty important to fix.